Hi everyone, welcome back. In our previous tutorial we have seen what interactive elements are available in Storyline and why we should be having interactivity in the slide. In this we will dive a little bit further where we would actually be using those interactive elements. Before we start using interactive elements, let me quickly give you some idea about what are layers, triggers, and then when we have a button, how we can use layers and triggers and a combination of all that. So if you see on the lower right hand side of the screen, we have something which is called as base layer. So this is the layer where we have all the buttons that we can place, and then if I want to create another layer over it, there is a button for creating an additional layer. I can click that and I can have another layer on top of the base layer, then I can have one more layer. So based on my requirement I can keep adding that. Now I can go back to the base layer and let's go to the trigger and understand that. If you see, we already have two triggers for the next and the previous screen, which is by default added. Now if you add a button, you can use triggers and make that button do some action. So let's first add a button. I'm currently on the base layer, which is untitled slide. Let me call it the base layer. Okay, so we don't get confused. And now I can go to my insert option, go to interactive objects, and I can go to control and add a button. I can select that, and the moment I add the button, I have different options of using different shapes, colors, whichever shape or color you like depending on the look and feel of the course. You can select that, and now you can give it a name. Let's call it happy. I can add one more button in the same way, and I can call it, I can change the color like I did. I can change the shape. If I don't like this, I can make it some other shape. Okay, I can call it sad. Okay, so now I have two buttons, happy and sad, and if I want to add some instructions, I can go to insert. I can take a text box and I can write something for the learner to know what they need to do. So I can say select the buttons to learn more. Okay, I can change the color, I can make it italics, and I can play around. So now I have two buttons, and now I have already created two layers. So I can name this as sad and I can name this as happy. Okay, and I am back to the main layer. Now I want the learner to go to the sad layer when they click on the sad button, and when they click on happy they can go to the happy layer. Now how do we do that? This can be achieved using triggers. So I have triggers. The moment I add a button, if I click on happy, it says add trigger. So I can click on add trigger, and these are the options that I need to fill. So if I click on happy, the action I want is to show the layer. I can select the name of the layer, which is happy, and I want it to come when the learner clicks button 1. So button 1 is the name of the happy button. I can leave that, and I can have a similar trigger for the sad button as well. So I can click on add trigger. So show layer sad when user clicks button 2, and if we see button 2, it is for the sad layer. I can click OK, and I can go back to the layer and just add a close button. So when that button or when that layer is open, it can be closed as well. So I can go here, take a button and just name it close. Okay, and I can add a trigger which says hide layer, this layer when user clicks button 1, and I can copy this and I can put it here as well, and that same trigger is being carried forward. Okay, now let's add some images. So for the sad, I can go to insert, go to character, illustrated character. Let me see if I can find something which is really sad. Okay, nothing which says sad, but I can take this which says stressed, which is quite similar. I can place it here. In the happy, I can add something which looks happy. I can go to the expression. Yes, this looks fine. I can add it here, and now I have my base layer. I have two buttons. If I click on happy, I want it to go to the happy layer. If I click on sad, it should go to the sad layer. And for each layer, I have the close button. So if I click on close, it should get me back to the base layer. And I have all the triggers and everything given for these two buttons as well as for the close button. So now I'm ready. I can go to preview. I can click on preview this slide, and it's going to show me how the course would look like with two buttons, layers, triggers, everything working together. So it is just trying to compile everything, and then it can show it to me. So here we see we have two buttons. We have user instruction. I can click on happy, the happy layer appears. I can click close. I am back to the base layer. I can click on sad. I see the sad layer. I can click on close, and that gets closed. I can play around, open it, click it, and we are done. I can close the close preview button, and I am back to my slide. So you see how simple it is to add different buttons and add different layers and just play around with triggers. So that makes the course really engaging and interesting for the learner. So keep practicing, add more buttons, add something in different layers, and then on clicking, add different triggers to make those layers appear. Try it with 2 buttons, 4 buttons, and then just play around with it. So thanks for watching. Keep watching other videos. Bye bye.